an event like last week, the Canadian Open, potentially going to one of these track twos. And like track two's a glorified Corn Ferry event. Like that's what track two is going to be. So I don't think the Canadian Open should be one of those.
The smoking gun that professional golf has been dreading for years hasn't just been found. It's been loaded, aimed, and fired directly into the heart of the sports establishment. For decades, the public has been fed a carefully curated narrative of a pure meritocracy, a gentleman's game where the only thing that matters is the number on the scorecard at the end of the day. But that facade has just been obliterated by the man who was once its most loyal defender. Rory McIlroy, the long-standing moral vanguard of the PGA Tour, has reportedly uncovered the receipts of a secret deal that confirms what many have whispered in the shadows of the locker rooms for months. The entire system is rigged. This isn't just about a single bad ruling or a minor policy change. This is about the exposure of what insiders are now calling the two-track system, a highly controversial pre-planned framework designed to shield a select elite while leaving the rest of the field to fight for scraps in a rigged economy. According to high-level reports leaking from the tour's inner circles, McIlroy has obtained evidence that the governing bodies and television executives didn't just stumble into this new model, they engineered it behind closed doors to ensure maximum corporate satisfaction and television ratings, regardless of the integrity of the competition on the grass. The revelation of this secret deal has triggered an absolute institutional meltdown. For years, the tour operated on an unwritten code of silence, but when hundreds of millions of dollars in historic legacies collide, the lid eventually blows off. Rory McIlroy's decision to break that silence left reporters speechless after an honest, high-stakes answer about the tour's new model.
Try to support the top players and all that stuff, which I think needed to happen because that was the only way to retain talent at the time. But now that LIV looks like it's less of a threat.
He didn't just question the direction of the sport. He challenged the systemic corruption that allowed a double standard to take root. A standard where top-tier stars are given a pass on rules violations to protect the tournament's brand, while lesser-known players face the full, brutal weight of the law. To understand how deep this betrayal goes, we have to look at the catalyst that forced Rory's hand. The scandalous handling of the Wyndham-Clark rules controversy. Viral video evidence from major championships appeared to show blatant rules violations, including unnatural ball movement in deep rough. In any other era, this would have triggered an immediate decisive investigation. Instead, the governing bodies met the evidence with a wall of institutional silence, choosing to protect the commercial viability of their marquee winners, rather than the rules of the game. For McIlroy, this institutional cover-up was the breaking point, proving that the rules no longer apply equally to everyone.
And yeah, I just think there's going to be certain events that, might lose their stature if a sponsor doesn't pony up $30 million. So that's the tough thing. But I'm not in those rooms. I don't know. I play my schedule and I'll continue to play my schedule.
The secret deal Rory has reportedly exposed reveals that this leniency wasn't accidental. It was part of a broader two-track system agreement. This framework essentially bifurcates the tour into two classes of citizens. On one track, you have the protected stars whose brand value is considered too high to fail. On the other track, you have the rank-and-file players who are being subjected to a bloodbath of new regulations. This includes a brutal new system set for 2028, where up to 120 players face potential relegation, effectively ending their careers to make room for a more corporate-friendly product. This internal schism has transformed the locker rooms from places of quiet concentration into ideological battlegrounds. The locker room civil war is no longer a metaphor. It is a volatile reality where players are openly accusing the leadership of stealing their career Grand Slam, bids through diabolical course setups, and secret rule changes. When the world's top players realize that the game they've dedicated their lives to is being manipulated to satisfy a broadcast deal or a corporate sponsor, the mutual respect that once defined the sport evaporates. The financial fallout from Rory's line in the sand has been instantaneous and severe. Professional golf operates on the backing of massive corporate entities who pay premium dollars for the prestige and class associated with the game. But when the tour's most influential figure signals that the competitive fairness is a sham, the corporate world enters a state of absolute paralysis. Reports indicate that major sponsors, including industry giants like NBC and Adidas, have already threatened to pull their funding entirely. NBC has reportedly issued an ultimatum threatening to pull a $700 million broadcast deal, unless the governing bodies take definitive action to restore integrity, including potentially stripping titles from those involved in rules controversies. The sponsor panic is driven by a simple marketing reality. No brand wants to be tied to a sports figure or an organization facing widespread allegations of compromised ethics. As rumors swirl that apparel and equipment giants are reviewing their multi-million-dollar contracts, the entire off-course empire of the Tour's elite is in serious jeopardy. This commercial pressure has left the PGA Tour leadership in a state of complete chaos, caught between their moral vanguard in the locker room and their corporate masters in the boardrooms. In private player meetings, Rory reportedly issued a brutal 48-hour ultimatum to the commissioner and tour executives. His demand was clear: the immediate firing of Commissioner Brian Rolapp and a total reversal of the two-track system, or he would walk away from the tour indefinitely. To prove he wasn't bluffing, McIlroy has already begun staging a calculated high-stakes boycott, refusing to share a pairing or even a practice round with players he believes have benefited from the rigged system. His absence from marquee pairings sends a loud, unmistakable message to every fan and executive: competitive integrity cannot be bought or compromised for the sake of entertainment. What makes this rigged narrative so compelling and so dangerous for the tour is the sheer contrast in how the titans of the game are being treated. While rank-and-file players are eliminated by brutal, rough, and diabolical win forecasts, the elite stars are reportedly benefiting from a huge advantage in equipment testing and pairing decisions. This mechanical and philosophical divide has turned every tournament into a high-stakes psychological chess match where players like Xander Schauffele are hyper-vigilantly monitoring their rivals for any crack in the armor. The plot against Scheffler is a perfect example of this internal rot. Despite his dominance, Scottie Scheffler has become a target of this locker room warfare, with reports of secret meetings held by other stars to curb his influence. Even his peers have participated in ruthless psychological hazing, such as changing their private group chat profile picture to his police mugshot following his viral arrest at Valhalla.
I've been told by sources that the group chat, that you have changed the group chat to include Scheffler's mugshot.
That was not. There was someone else on our table that did that. It was the day after. We needle Scotty. He kicked it like a champ. So our little group chat for our physio table, it ended up being a mugshot of Scotty, and he took it great. He showed up the next day smiling at everybody.
I think we have some stuff to figure out, and I think if we're going to do it, we might as well do it right and get even more robust, even more strict. And I mean, you can test guys every week if you want. I mean, there's no reason why we shouldn't. I think if it's something that we're going to take seriously, I feel like we're almost going kind of halfway with it right now, where if we're going to test only a third of the field, I mean, if we're going to do it right, you know, leave it up to us as players like the rest of the rules in the game of golf are. This is just, it's a newer rule that we haven't quite gotten right yet.
This environment of fiercely guarded secrets and private betrayals proves that true friendship on tour has become a mathematical impossibility. As the details of the secret deal continue to leak, fans are no longer just looking at the leaderboard. They are looking for the disastrous golf meltdowns that officials never wanted them to see. The public is beginning to realize that the gentleman's game they see on television is a carefully curated illusion, masking a reality of litigation, locker room confrontations, and sponsor exodus. The institutional meltdown is so severe that tour officials are reportedly scrambling to separate stars before they even reach the final round handshakes. The era of comfortable dominance is officially over. The battle for the psychological soul of professional golf is now being fought one private conversation and one leaked document at a time. Rory McIlroy's exposure of the two-track system has forced a defining trial for the sport, a demonstration that the traditional values of honor and honesty are in a desperate existential fight against the forces of corporate greed. If the game loses its honesty, as Rory has warned, it loses everything that makes it great. The tour now faces an uncertain future where alliances are fracturing and the threat of a mass walkout looms over every major event. Whether the governing authorities can bridge this massive chasm by implementing independent oversight and proving the rules apply to everyone remains to be seen. Until that day, the rigged narrative will continue to dominate the headlines, and Rory McIlroy's line in the sand will remain firmly in place, protecting the integrity of the game even if it means watching the system he helped build tear itself apart from the inside out. The secret deal wasn't just a contract. It was a betrayal of every player who ever called a penalty on themselves in the name of the game's honor. As the 2026 season progresses, the bloodbath of relegation and the panic of sponsors will likely intensify, proving that the gentleman's game is undergoing a transformation that nobody saw coming and that many may not survive. The golden boy era of the tour is dead, replaced by a volatile reality of secret meetings, private dossiers, and a billion-dollar exit strategy that has left the world of golf in a state of absolute unvarnished shock. That's it for today, folks. See you in the next video.